Hey everyone, David Shapiro here with another video. We're going to continue working on this story, Ascension. So as a quick recap, mostly what we did last time was we got a main character and a premise. So the premise is just kind of like, okay, what's the background of the story? We've also got the setting. So it starts in 110 AD with Cornelia, the main character, at 12 years old, and her family loses everything. So that'll be the first major plot beat. But there's a few other things that we can do before diving into the plot whole hog. So first is one of the things that we needed to do is figure out her cognomen. So we'll go ahead and do this. So great, thanks. Now let's figure out her cognomen. How do Roman women get cognomens? What are some examples? So if you don't remember, the cognomen is like a nickname or something, um, which is like they usually if you say it in Latin, it sounds elegant, but they're usually like kind of ridiculous. Like sometimes it's just like the dude with the red hair or the one with big teeth or like really stupid stuff like that. So let's see. Aurelia, Golden, Flavia, Blonde, Livia, Envious, Prima, First, Secunda. Okay. What about famous Roman men? Didn't they have silly cognomens like man with the red hair and stuff like that? I guess it does have like it's something like um yeah, here. Yeah, many famous Roman were based on physical characteristics or personal traits. Given humorous or derogatory cognomens as a form of mockery or insult. Cicero was derived from the word for chickpea. Oh, that's awful. Today I learned that Cicero means chickpea, and it's because he had a giant wart. Paulus was a Roman general known for his military success. Paulus is the word for small or humble. Oh, wow. And Caesar, guys, Julius Caesar, was derived from the Latin word for hairy. Okay. Okay, so it is usually pretty basic. So we can pick something about her that is distinctive. So okay, great. Okay, great. So let's think through our MC's personality and life. Uh, Cornelia Valerii. Um, Help me brainstorm what kind of person she is and what kind of cognomen she might get. So mostly it seems like cognomens are based on physical traits. So she's strong and determined. I think actually thinking through her character arc, she probably doesn't start off as strong. Because I was thinking about this where like um, based on her physical appearance, her personality, or her talents. Okay, yeah. I think that because in this case she grows up very privileged, and then things go wrong at a critical age, 12, and so she might earn the moniker, uh, like someone with a silver tongue or someone with a quick wit. So Livia and yeah, okay. So this doesn't really help too much. Um, okay, that's not too helpful. Um, I think she probably will not start off strong. Um, her remember everything went wrong when she was 12 and ends up as a courtesan. I think that she should not know where she will end up. She's just trying to survive. Um, Maybe I was thinking of the Greeks because the Greeks often had cognomens that was like the one with the pretty face or pale arms or something. It's something that my fiance told me that there's often like little things, little asides that kind of we've lost the cultural meaning today. Um, let's see. What are some what's the word? Endearments? Um, like how the Greeks would say a woman had fair arms, and that meant she was pretty. Um, what are some Roman sayings like that? There we go. Bellezza, beauty. Okay. Fortunata, lucky. Gracilis. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. Industria. What is this? Cyberpunk Persuasio. All right. I like Gracilis. Is Gracilis Latin? Would that be a legit cognomen? Yeah, I know what they were used for. Okay, so we'll go ahead. Oh, and I just copied the most critical stuff out to here. Gracilis. So Cornelia Valerii Gracilis. We have we have her whole thing. So now let's do a little bit more about her character arc. And then, well, so here's where it gets complicated because you have to interweave character, which you have your main character and then a whole cast of characters. You have to have the plot, which is what happens. Now, fortunately, a lot of that is going to be set because we're going to base it on his as a historical fiction, so we can just kind of follow the exploits of actual history. And then we have the setting, which is also set. So this is I guess what I'm trying to say is this is mostly a character driven story because the backdrop is already established. So I don't necessarily have to do any world building. Great. Let's focus on her character arc. Let's start with birth to age 12 as a member of a wealthy patrician family, the Valerii. Let's figure out what Cornelia's life might have been like up to that point. Okay, let's just see what it says. Do a quick time check while it's writing. Time check. All right, 9 minutes. Let's see. She was a member of a wealthy patrician family. She was born wealthy, influential, known for its wealth, status, connections. She was raised in a luxurious and privileged environment. Education. She would have received a thorough education in the arts, science, and humanities. Training in literature, history, mathematics, philosophy. I don't know that. Well, we can take some artistic license because this is actually very popular today. Is do some historical revisionism. You see this in the really popular shows like Bridgerton, where it's largely inspired by Edwardian or Victorian or Regency era stuff, but then like they change the costumes or they've changed history a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not particularly like, you know, bent on having it do a certain thing. Okay, so family background, education, social obligations, yeah, the traditions, leisure activities. Yeah. Okay, great. So this is a good start. This is a good start. with all this in mind, let's brainstorm a cast of characters around Cornelia. Mother, father, siblings, aunts, uncles, tutors, family, friends, etc. Can you help brainstorm some of these roles? Let's also keep in mind some mythic archetypes. For instance, are you familiar with the Maiden Arc as elucidated by K.M. Weiland? So one thing is that if GPT-3 doesn't know what you're talking about, it just kind of ignores it. So the fact that it did not answer the question about the Maiden Arc by K.M. Weiland means that it probably doesn't know. Um, and so let's see, wealthy and influential, strong and influential. So this is another thing, is that because of alignment training, GPT-3 is usually optimistic, and it just tries to look at everything through rose-tinted glasses. Um, so let's see, and this is it. This is also just kind of like brainstorming. Like, she might be a patron of the arts, or blah blah blah. Complex world. So the maiden character arc, this is seen often in Disney stories, actually, where you have the bumbling idiot dad. This is like particularly pronounced in the original Beauty and the Beast adaptation, where you have a well-meaning dad who's actually kind of an idiot. This was also in Pride and Prejudice, where Mr. Bennet is like, he loves his daughters very much, but he's just kind of like checked out, and he often doesn't know what's going on. And then you have this overbearing, controlling mother. So that is like, the evil mother, or the too good mother, or sometimes an evil stepmother archetype, and then the useless dad, which is why the useless father figure is why the Maiden Arc makes sense, is because then the Maiden Arc has the protagonist is vulnerable to predatory men, and is in need of powerful men, but then also individuation from authority, from the controlling mother, or overbearing authority figures. And then there has to be a choice between whether fall victim to the predator, the predatory advances of older men, and to find like genuine love, that sort of stuff. Okay, so basically this is just parroting back to me what I asked for. Okay, innocence, curiosity, and the blah. Oh, it got cut off. Please explain more about the Maiden Arc by K.M. Weiland. All right, so let's see if it actually knows. One of 4 main archetypes. No, it's actually 6. Yeah, so this, I don't think it really knows what it's talking about. I mean, it did connect it to the hero's journey, but the hero is the second arc. So it's maiden, hero, queen, king, crone, mage. So this actually doesn't know what it's talking about. Okay, thanks for trying, but you are actually dead wrong. The various archetypes as laid out by K.M. Weiland are maiden, hero, queen, king, crone, and mage. Are you does this jog your memory? Let's see. I apologize for misunderstanding. Let's see. Innocence, curiosity, desire for adventure and exploration, inexperience. So like, it's got that right, but it's kind of super generic. So it clearly has not actually read this, and it's just queuing off of me. So The maiden archetype is about individuation, which is going basically from child through adolescence, which is the rebellion phase, and then becoming your own person. So this is where the story starts. Um, and yeah, this is super, super, super wrong. Ignore everything it's saying. Okay. Yep. Again, thanks for trying, but you're super wrong. Um, the Maiden Arc has to do with starting uh, uh, in a vulnerable place with an overbearing or perfectionist mother figure representing authority. And so here's the thing: even though that it's wrong, it should be able to. If I tell it this, if I give it this new model, it should be able to figure it out. Representing authority, sometimes characterized by the evil stepmother trope, often in Disney, um, uh, and which is balanced against the idiot, bumbling, or otherwise useless father figure, such as Mr. Bennett in Pride and Prejudice. This leaves the young maiden vulnerable to the world, forcing her to grow up early, earlier than expected, and also on her own. Thus, hers is a quest to from individuate uh, from both authority figures and the predatory energy of older men. This is also like exactly Beauty and the Beast, which is Belle, young, attractive, kind of lost, ends up being pursued by both Gaston, who is just pure like rugged masculinity and sees nothing other than a beautiful young fertile woman, and then the Beast, who also needs saving. It's super problematic. But hey, most myths are. That is why they are lessons. Is it's like this is actually not the best way to live. Um, for instance, Gaston uh, pursuing Belle in Beauty and the Beast. Um, okay, so with all this in mind, do you have a better understanding of the Maiden Arc? Can you explain it to me now? Starting out in a vulnerable and often vulnerable position, often due to the influence of an overbearing or perfectionist mother and a bumbling or otherwise useless father. Okay, so it's just parroting back to me what I said uh, before grow up and become independent. Vulnerable, isolated. The maiden's journey is often a quest for self-discovery and self-acceptance. That's part of it. She may face challenges and obstacles along the way, such as the opportunity to learn and grow. Okay, so it's super, super doesn't get this. Um, it's like just like yeah, this is. I'm just gonna repeat back what you said and hope that it's like Patrick and SpongeBob. Like Patrick, this is being Patrick right now. Okay, so got it. All right. Okay, thanks. I guess. I give up. Um, let's just go ahead and uh, base Cornelia's parents off the parents in Pride and Prejudice. How about that? They are neither strong nor intelligent nor influential. Um, you're way too sunny about this. Um, they are actually somewhat inept. Cornelia's mother uh, is constantly fretting about everything, um, and thinks she's good at playing the grand game of palace intrigue, but actually isn't. Meanwhile, her father, while well meaning, is not very bright or good with money or anything like that. Um, let's just say the whole family was born into wealth that they cannot maintain, nor could have earned. Um, ooh, I just had a stroke of inspiration. Let's say that the Valerii reputation in court. I don't know if they have court per se. Um, in the upper echelons of Roman society is a fool and his money are soon parted. Yeah. Can you update the cast of characters with this information? Mother. Cornelia's mother is a fretful and ambitious woman who thinks she's good at playing the grand game, but is actually rather inept. She's constantly worried about everything and is always trying to find ways to advance her family's social standing and financial position. His father is somewhat is well-meaning but clueless and is not very bright. He's content to let his wife take the lead, which would be super, super bad in Roman society. So here's the thing: is in Roman society, matrons, powerful women, did have a lot of power in their own right, but they were supposed to always be eclipsed by their husbands. And so this could be like he could have a reputation. I'm not going to use certain words, but reputation as being husband to an infidelitous wife, let's say. Yep. Okay. Great. Let's go ahead and um, establish some names. Um, give me some possible names for Cornelia's mother and father. Excuse me. Yep. Yeah. So this could be like super problematic. Octavia, Livia, Agrippina, Valeria. If she married into the Valerii clan, she would probably have something else. Let's call her Octavia. No, Octavia is that's a strong name. Let's do Agrippina or Livia. Actually, Livia because she's envious. I like that. Um, and then let's do Titus Valerii. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's pick Livia Valerii for the mother, and then Titus Valerii for the father. Um, now let's find some cognomens for them. It's probably just gonna the patient or the diplomat. Let's see, Livia the wealthy, Titus Valerii, the brave or the just. Okay, so it's not even paying attention to what we just said. Um, yeah. Were you paying attention to the personalities we just established? Do you think Livia is patient or Titus is brave? Let's try something a little bit more on the point of these characters. So I'm being like really offensive, but like this has actually worked really well sometimes. It's like I'm like, hey, you kind of didn't do that right. Let's try something else. The fretful, the ambitious, Livia the inept, the warrior, the clueless. There we go. And see, clearly it was paying attention, but it defaults to being positive. And this is one thing that I really, really dislike about alignment is that OpenAI has single-handedly decided what is good. And I don't necessarily agree with that. And if they didn't choose that, if this just came out in the with the reinforcement learning, okay, it's not their fault. But it is a problem that this is super like, you know, let's see, it's not helpful. It's overly positive. So there. I'm glad that they integrated the feedback. It doesn't take you to a Google form anymore. Okay, so let's do um, the passive. Oh, ouch. No, well-meaning. Oh, love that. Okay. Um, okay, great. Let's translate these to Latin. Um, so, like in this case, it would be a tongue-in-cheek, like she's Livia Valerii the ambitious, and it's like, but everyone says it like, yeah, okay. Um, how would we say the ambitious in Latin, and how would we say the well-meaning in Latin? And again, it's only just parroted back to me, kind of the words that I used. Ambitiosa, boni animi, bone anime. Oh, this is so mean. Impertinax. Let's see. I guess impertinax would be the ineffectual. This is so mean. Livia Valerii ambitiosa. uh, I love this. Curiosa. That's kind of fun. Insignis. I think insignis means like insignificant. At least it seems to have a similar root. I want to pick something that's going to be tongue in cheek. So we'll do Livia ambiciosa. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come down here and we're going to do dramatis personae. Okay, so we'll do unformat. Yeah, no, don't copy the whole thing. Come on, unform. Why is it not copying it? That's fine. Okay. The ambitious. Then we'll get Titus Valerius, Titus Boni Animi. And then it copied it this time. That's fine. Okay. I know this is probably boring, but I told you that we'd go through the whole process. And so basically you're just learning my process of how I would write a story. How I do write stories. Um the well-meaning. Okay. Come back here. Great. Now please write a character report for each of those two. Be detailed and thorough and include historical details as well as personality and flaws. It's thinking. And we're already at 30 minutes, so this is going slower than I thought. Huh. Luxury. Despite her best efforts, she has struggled to maintain her family's wealth, mounting debts and political instability. Despite desperate to restore her family, she has become fixated on advancing. Ooh, this could be how they get. Yeah, this could be how they lose everything. Is they enter into. Oh, this is great. See, this is where it's really thriving. Where it's like, okay, let's put everything together and write this. And then it just kind of copies it. Content to let his wife take the lead in the matters of social and financial strategy. So it would not be uncommon for a Roman matron to be the one planning all the parties and sending out invitations and doing a lot of the scheming. He's frequently described as passive, impertinax, and insignis, and is often the target of criticism and ridicule. Yeah. Okay, so we'll grab these because these are good. Let's embellish Titus a bit because he's so passive. He is often shunned by more, let's say, vigorous Roman men. He doesn't take any mistresses, which was very common. Like a virtuous Roman man almost always had at least one mistress on the side, and is often, let's see, teased for having a potentially infidelious fidelitas. It'll fix the wording for me. Spelling. So this speaks to Roman shame and social controls. Part of the theme. All right. Titus Valerii, well-meaning but clueless father of Cornelia. Born into a wealthy patrician family, Titus has always been accustomed to a life of luxury and privilege. However, despite his best efforts, blah, 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 content to let his wife take the lead in matters of social and financial strategy. He's not helpful. Network error. Really? Ugh. Here, let's do a quick reload. We're experiencing high demand. We'll scale faster. Duh. We need more pylons. All right, let's see. I think we're closing in on time today. These sessions go fast. Telling you, man. All right, so quick recap. I did not get nearly as much done as I thought because I got down a rabbit hole trying to teach this about mythic archetypes, and it totally failed. Okay, and it's just parroting stuff back to me for having an unfaithful wife. Okay, that's fine. Sure, this is good enough. Let's go over here. All right, so we've got the backstory of these two characters. I feel like that's good. Did we get? Yeah, it doesn't have that much about her yet. Chrysalis. We did get her cognomen, which is good. So we can have that can be part of our story is how does she earn that cognomen? Okay, great. The first plot points are coming together now. let's brainstorm the opening chapters of the story. Um, it starts with Cornelia being 12 years old. So we need probably, let's say, 2 or 3 chapters of her ordinary life before disaster strikes her family. Help me brainstorm what goes into these opening chapters. So here's one thing is where, because I have a superior memory to ChatGPT, it has a relatively short memory. It's still not bad, 8,000 tokens. Because I have a longer memory, I can keep track of all kinds of stuff. Let's see. Villa in Rome. She's well educated and has a close-knit group of friends and siblings. This chapter should also introduce some of the key players, such as her parents, Livy and Titus, as well as any other important family members or friends. Chapter 3, day-to-day life, highlighting their routines, habits, and social activities. Some of the key themes of the story, such as importance of social status and reputation, yes. Power dynamics, begin to hint at the looming threat. Yep. Okay, this is really great. Let's update it just a bit. Chapter 1 can be totally carefree, where we establish the setting and Cornelia's personality. Let's move the foreshadowing into chapter 2. Let's say that Titus and crap, what is the mom's name? This is one problem. Livia, that's right, Livia. Was it envious, the jealous? Are excited to have new house guests over, and Cornelia overhears them discussing big projects, the aqueducts, because I think it's probably already forgotten, like it's gone too far back. But let's say that these house guests are members of the Julio-Claudian dynasty. And if you're familiar with Roman history, you're probably going, ooh. Let's just say that this was a dangerous family to be near at various times, who will ultimately betray them. And so let's drop some hints that the Claudians may not have the best intentions in chapter 2. Let's have the Roman equivalent of a governess explain some of this to Cornelia. Finally, in chapter 3, there we go. Let's have something major happen. We need to brainstorm this. Maybe Titus and is hauled before a magistrate, Roman judge, to execute a contract which he didn't review, and it turns out that his whole estate now belongs to the Claudians. Can you update the chapters with all this? I just gave it a lot to keep track of. And while that's writing, I'm going to close the curtains because I'm getting sun directly in my face. Fun fact, the day after an eclipse, Google search trends spike for "Why do my eyes hurt?" Let's see. Cornelia is introduced as a 12-year-old girl. The chapter establishes the setting. It didn't tell me what her what it was. But let's think about what's the main theme, because usually you have to have something that hints at the main theme, kind of in the first chapter. So this is good, and then we'll probably call it a day after just one more pass. Yeah, we're already at 40 minutes, and it's just parroting back to me what I said. Yeah, okay. Do. Great. Let's brainstorm um, how to weave in the theme starting in chapter one. Um, Recall that the theme, the main theme, is the accumulation of power at the expense of losing one's humanity, uh, friends, love, soul, etc. Um, so, how can we foreshadow that Cornelia will be interested in accumulating power starting in chapter one? So again, I remembered this from, a few days ago when I did this. I don't think that ChatGPT goes back that far. Okay, so she can be competitive, especially if they have some friends over. I like that. Um, yeah. Okay, so I like. Here's the thing: is when you make choices as an author, as authorial choices based on emotional resonance, it says more about you than it says about anything else. So, for instance, every little choice that I've made as we go, like the cognomen gracilis, why did that resonate with me? I don't know. I have to figure that out. Writing. So I never understood this, but I've heard authors say that writing is an act of self discovery more than anything else, and that is true. Okay, let's see. So she tries to impress or flatter someone. Yep, blah blah blah. Okay, so here's what's coming into focus. Um, let's have Cornelia demonstrate her grace very early on. She's interested in dressing well and hosting, um, uh, and is quite precocious in her interest in family matters. Um, she practices um, etiquette, etiquette. Hey, I spelled it right. She practices etiquette, singing, and the lyre, um, and has always been noted for her poise. So let's establish her cognomen, Gracilis, in the first chapter, um, when the family is hosting a big banquet dinner for friends and family. Um, let's have a powerful uncle or other statesman um, comment that Titus has a very graceful daughter and he should be proud. Okay. Um, I guess we'll see what it does. Um, because I didn't ask it to write the chapter, because this is not prose. This is absolutely not prose. Yeah, ChatGPT is capable of prose, but this is not it. Um, Flowing white toga. Could girls? I don't know if girls could wear togas. Certainly not 12-year-old girls. Yep. And also, this is written this. So this writing right here just like off the cuff is like being charitable. Let's say this is roughly middle school level writing. It's capable of better, but you can see that this is kind of what it defaults to. And we'll call it a day because this is we're gonna get lost in the weeds. But yeah, so we're closing in on getting the plot figured out because again, just a quick recap. Most of what I have to figure out are the characters and what happens to them, but the world, the setting, is dictated by history, as are some of the major events. And probably what I'll do is before we get into plotting this out more, is I'm going to work on what's called the set piece moments. So the set piece moments are the big things that change, like what is the moment of truth, when is the darkest hour, that sort of stuff. So we'll get to that next time. Thanks for watching.